Hey Mark, how are you doing? Ready, steady, go.
I'm okay, Cal. How you doing? You all right?
Yes, yeah, I'm very good, thank you.
Okay,
We've
well,
just come.
before we start with load of things, we do need to just do a little plug for our patron, don't we? It's about £2. It's £2.50 for our first tier on the patrons. Well, I think it's our only tier, isn't it? And you do get some really cool things. You know, you get sort of an advanced recording of the pod, and you get a shout out on the episodes as well. So do check out our patron. Sorry, slight little cheeky plug there.
Nothing wrong with that, and it's less than a price of a cup of coffee because that's what every other podcast says,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Or even a pint of beer these days. And,
Oh, definitely. Or,
yeah.
yeah, don't tell me off on a pint of beer.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark, we've got a couple of stories today, haven't we? One is a story about a young lady that's been diagnosed with cancer that we'll be talking
Yeah.
about, and also politicians. And with the UK elections now, really with us. My question is: Are they all that? Are politicians? Are they all that in front of a camera?
Indeed. And it's not just about them either. We wouldn't be discussing their marketing teams and yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But I wanted to start off with Mark about a story about a young 16-year-old girl in here in the UK from Harrogate in Yorkshire, who's been diagnosed with a rare form of cancer. It's I'm going to read little bits of this because I don't want to get any information wrong, facts wrong. But it's a desmoplastic small round cell tumor,
Mm.
and I think it's to do with bone and tissue cancer, and it's very rare, and there's currently no standard care, no treatment, for it. And unfortunately, she's been given 3 to 6 months to live. And um, with with her parents, she has decided that she's not going to continue with her schoolwork, doing her A levels. There's no point.
Mm.
She was saying that if she had around 3 years to live, then it might, then they may have been worth doing. But she said there's no point, and her parents have told her to follow her heart. And what they've done is they put out a message on X, and asked people, to basically, I guess is donate something, I guess.
Mm.
And one of the things that she's really into was into photography,
Mm.
and she's very much into a photographer called David Suh. I'm not sure I've pronounced it right.
Mm.
Who's an educator and a portrait photographer, and really hot on Instagram. And she really wanted to go and meet him in Los Angeles. Unfortunately, though, they weren't able to do that because of travel insurance.
Yeah,
So she
because of
wasn't
the,
able to do that.
'cause of
But
the yeah.
this, but this request that they put out on X received a huge amount of interest and offers, and they were offered some photography experiences that she's been involved in, which
Ah, cool.
sounded which sound absolutely phenomenal. They've been
Yeah.
inundated which is inundated with offers, which has been fantastic. Her mum Vicky said, and she's been given the opportunity to photograph the Royal Marines. She's been to theatre shows and photographed Wicked, Cabaret, and also she fulfilled one wish, and that was going to watch an episode of a favorite TV show, Would I Lie to You? And she said an amazing time there in the green room, and saw how the show was amazed. And
Mm.
and she went home, and basically, to quote her, she said, "I went home and didn't think anything could be as good as that." And
Mm.
so there's a real sort of positive to have come out of it, because a lot of
Mm.
people have been there to help, and a lot of people have given her an opportunity to do something that she really likes. And fair play to her. With she's been going through chemotherapy, and that's not going to be
That's
easy. But
no,
she's
it's not at
still
all.
sort of using the energy to make the most of the time that she has. And people do love photography. It's something that's creative, and it's great to see a lot of people giving something back,
Yeah.
to her.
I mean, there's
Um,
there's two things I'd like to comment on about this. I mean, it just show first of all, we are the first to sort of slag off social media, aren't we? Neither of us are particular fans of it, but this is one of those occasions where actually real good has come out of social media. Um,
mm,
she probably wouldn't have been able to have done half of these things if she wasn't able to get the word out in this way. So, this is yeah, one of the things where you think actually social media is done really well here. The other thing as well is just really showing about how lucky you and me are in, well, obviously in all sorts of things, but we do a profession that we absolutely love. Photography is more than just a job for us. It's also a passion. It's something that we enjoy. It's something that we love to do. Um, and stories like this kind of really bring that back, don't they? Because this is what she wants to do for the rest of her life. She wants to be involved in photography. She wants to photograph Cabaret and Wicked and the Royal Marines and all these kind of things. And it just shows what a powerful thing photography is for self-enhancement in some ways, however you use it, whether it's getting your messages across, um and just a way of sort of expressing yourself, but also what it can do for, as I say, your mental well-being. And yeah,
Mm.
it's a sobering thing, isn't it? Because I think sometimes me and you, we probably take it for granted. Oh, we've got to do this job today, or blah 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 blah. But
Of course,
actually,
yeah,
we
yeah.
are incredibly lucky.
And I think, so many people sort of, oh, I've got to get up for work this morning and
Mm,
and that type of thing. And I've actually always said that I've always felt really fortunate, because if someone else said to me, what else would you have done as a job? I would actually say, I don't know. I
mm,
have been completely fulfilled with the career that I've had, and getting up in the mornings doesn't feel like work to me. Yes,
mm.
of course, on occasions, it does, and it is work. But you know what I mean. I
Yeah.
never get up in the morning thinking, or I never have the dreaded Monday morning feeling.
Mm,
I don't get that, and I'm very thankful for that. um and you're right, this does make you realize that. And it's like that thing, sometimes when I'm working on my own, or I'm working with others, I'm working with you, we'll do a shot and we'll just sort of say to one another, well, we may not even say it to one another, think, oh wow, look at that. I look at the back
yeah.
of it I look at it on the back of my camera, think, oh, that's pretty nice. That now,
Yeah.
how many other jobs on a day-to-day basis have that, where you look at something you've just done, think, oh wow, that's pretty cool, isn't it? Oh wow, that's really nice. Here,
Yeah.
have a look at this. And
I,
isn't that amazing?
I
Look at
can't
that.
imagine many people do that on a pie chart they just created. You know what I mean?
No,
Or a
exactly.
spreadsheet, or I don't know. They might do. They might do,
They might
but
do. That's right. Yeah. Some
but
people
anyway.
get off on spreadsheets. So
But going back to this story, I think it's obviously it's a terrible, sad story, and I think they would change everything for her not to have this diagnosis. But there is kind of a warming feel that so many people have got together to help her achieve what she wants to achieve in her remaining time. And yeah, and also devastation for the photography industry, because we're obviously going to lose a very talented young lady as well. She obviously has the drive. She's the sort of person that, diagnosis or not, she probably would have made a decent career out of it.
mm,
But by the way she comes across in this story, she's exactly the right sort of person to be in this industry. And yeah, it's a real shame that
yeah, that's right. Yeah. So shout out to Liz
mm,
Raboina, and her parents as well. Her mum Liz, from us, wishing you all, wishing you the best, the very best,
absolutely.
and everything that you do over the next few months as well.
And we should probably share the Twitter post as well. We'll see if that how we can do that.
We'll do that as well. Good stuff. Okay, Mark. Before we jump on to the next story, let's grab a quick drink, and we'll see you in a sec. Okay, right, Mark. So we are very much in the middle of the UK elections,
What? There's an election
and
going on? Really?
well, yeah. It really is. I mean, it's not like the US where there's months leading up to it. We've got
Yeah.
like a 6 week period, and I think we're probably into week 2, and we've had,
And they
I
call it
think,
going long as well with 6 weeks.
yeah, and I've had, I think there's been 3 TV debates, 2 of which I watched,
Okay.
because I do enjoy them actually.
Yeah, I've only seen the first
And
one. I've only seen one.
yeah, so I've seen the 2 of the 3 that they've had so far at the time of recording this episode, and it makes you sort of think about how much the politicians and these parties rely on all of the imagery that goes out,
mm,
whether it just happens, whether it's controlled, that type of thing, and avoiding mishaps and that type of thing, because there have been a few mishaps, haven't there, Mark?
yes, yes, they have. I mean, there's a lot of interesting thing that goes on image wise in an election. Rishi Sunak, I mean, him and his marketing team, you kind of wonder what the hell are they doing?
Hmm.
Because there's been some awful sort of imagery coming from them. So there is, I mean, we'll post these pictures if we can.
And
But
can we say
first of all,
we're just also say that we're not taking sides here or anything.
yes, yeah,
Our
yeah,
our political allegiances are not determined on what we're talking about here at all. We're just talking about we're talking, on a blank canvas here.
yes, absolutely. It's really about imagery and strategy we're talking about rather than it being about policy and who to vote for. We're trying to we want to remain as completely neutral as this as possible. But it is kind of noticing though. I mean, I'm sure everyone who's seen the Liberal Democrats doing a few stunts. What would you think to those stunts that they're pulling at the moment? There are lots of videos of Ed Davey acting like Boris Johnson almost. I mean, what's that about?
I know that surprised me. I think there was one where he was on some sort of a water slide or something. I can't remember
Yeah,
exactly. It was something anyway. And I think what they do is that the marketing team go into overdrive here,
yeah.
and you have to think where the marketing team sometimes, who this marketing team is,
Mm,
and because their ultimate aim is obviously to win votes, and it seems to me
mm.
it's like their way to win votes is to say, let's try and make you out to be a normal everyday person that relates with everyone. And hey, you know what, you are perfectly capable of going out and having a bit of fun by going out on a water slide or jumping into the sea or doing whatever or going on a boat trip or something. You're perfectly capable. You want to show you're one of the people,
Yeah.
and you understand. and
Mm,
and I and sometimes, they don't need to. I mean, one thing I have noticed, and this has been going on for a number of years, is the dress down culture. There's been this dress
mm.
down culture that started on sort of dress down Fridays, I think, in the
Yeah.
city, where people didn't have to wear a tie anymore, and it was shirts. And I see people like Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer now, strutting out with just shirts,
Mm,
trousers and sleeves rolled up,
yeah.
forgetting the tie, forgetting the jacket, and sort of making out, hey, that we're one of you guys.
Yeah. Well, didn't Rory
Um,
Stewart do it in the middle of the Tory leadership campaign? Like in the middle of the debate, he just decided to take his tie off halfway through the debate.
you know, well,
What you
I,
doing?
I, I, and that's careful imagery, and I think that's obviously come from the US, because whatever
Yeah.
happens in the US is replicated here.
Mm,
There's this classic thing that, and they do it for the cameras when, when a politician steps out and they've got their cheering crowd, their supporters in
mm.
front of them, and what they'll do is point out into the audience and point at someone, and they'll mouth at them and they're nodding at them, and they don't know that person.
Yeah.
Okay, this is part of their marketing thing. So you look at them, what they do is they stick their finger out and they point to someone in the audience, and or they'll look at them, and they'll sort of mouth as if they know them
Yeah.
personally, and they don't know
Mm,
them. Right. And
yeah.
they don't know that, but they're just trying to make out, hey, look, he knows some of the people in the crowd here. He or
Yeah.
she knows some real people. you
Yeah.
know
But they don't.
and
It's very clever. It's
they
very
don't.
clever. But I mean, looking at the sort of, I'll say the three main political parties that we've got and the different strategies that they're doing. I mean, Labour, there is imagery coming out of Labour, but nothing noteworthy I've noticed.
It's very dull.
It is, it's very dull. And I'm guessing their strategy is pretty much, guys, we've probably got this. This is ours to lose. And let's just play it safe. They're not doing anything particularly outrageous. They're not doing. Did you remember? Was it? I've forgotten one of the brothers. I've forgotten his name. Ed. Oh, what's
A
his surname?
Miliband.
Miliband. Thank you. Yeah, Ed
Yeah.
Miliband.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I think it was in the last election. He did the last elect. Well, it was before the Corbyn ones, wasn't it? But he did the templates in stone. Do you remember that?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
I
their
remember that. Yep.
policies were written in stone, and it was supposed to be
Yep.
this, and it just panned, didn't it? But you're not
Yeah.
seeing any of that from Labour this year. They're just playing it uber safe. You've got the Lib Dems who are just trying to get noticed, I think, which is why
Well,
they're
they're doing
doing
all
what
these.
they're doing.
They're doing all these stunts, aren't they?
They are.
Or
I
the
mean,
odd stunt.
I think some of it is backfiring. on the Lib Dems a little bit because Ed Davey, who's the leader of the Lib Dems, who's been doing a lot of these stunts, he's trying to play the Boris Johnson I'm a buffoon kind of playbook. He's a good
Yeah,
guy, he's a clever guy, but he gets in a few scrapes and manages to get out of it. Ha ha ha, because he's, a British scamp or something like that. It's just not his brand. It's just not who he is.
yeah,
But it's getting people talking about it, I guess. The only one I thought was brilliant was the one where you saw the Lib Dems boat going behind Rishi Sunak in Henley on Thames. And
yeah.
of
I
course,
mean,
all
yeah,
the papers then went along with the lines of it's another boat Rishi Sunak couldn't sort out. And whatever you think about small boats thing, it doesn't matter. It's a funny
mm.
play on that situation. So that was quite good.
But you see, I do find that they they almost sort of worrying too much about the others within
mm,
what they do, and
mm,
you see some of the images, and it's all about the Tories knocking Labour and
yeah,
Labour knocking the Tories and backwards and forwards, and
yeah,
you see that within the images that they try and create. I mean,
mm,
I'm looking at a picture here at the moment of Keir Starmer holding a baby in a crowd,
yeah.
and
Classic politician move, that, isn't it?
it's yeah, that's right, yeah, and those they're all carefully illustrated. It's going
Mm,
to be, the chances are, they knew that baby was in the crowd. Bring the baby forward. Let's grab a picture of you with the
yeah,
baby. Sakir, or Rishi Sunak, get in
they'll do it.
amongst
Yeah,
your supporters. We want to make, roll your sleeves up. Let's get your photograph looking like this. Let's get your photograph looking like that. But too much of the message goes on about knocking the others rather than concentrate on the message that you actually want to put out, and stop
yeah,
trying to put your images across by sort of saying that we're part of the people.
mm,
I do understand. There's a big thing about Rishi Sunak, being very highly educated, being very, very wealthy,
yeah.
that type of thing. I don't have a problem with him being highly educated. If I want somebody in charge of a country or somebody I want to vote for, I'd like to know that person has got some sort of an education,
Well,
right?
yeah,
And
to some points, I guess there's education and there's being clever. You don't
yeah,
have to be. I mean, highly educated can be misconstrued as he went to Eton.
yeah,
Whereas actually, you could
yeah.
have someone from a state school who could be just as clever
Yeah,
and could
but you
just
want
be.
somebody who's got a bit of you want somebody. In other words, I'd like somebody who I would like to think that person is a little bit educated. I'm not saying
Yeah,
they have got to have gone to Eton. I'd
yeah,
like to think, yeah, they're a little bit in it.
they know what they're doing.
right. They know
Yeah,
they know what they're
yeah,
doing, right?
because
So
Tories have
yeah,
had some leaders that haven't known what they've been doing, quite frankly.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
That's right. Yeah. So and when you watch, again, when you look at the images, again, clothing is all very much a part of it, making
yeah.
sure, they're wearing the red tie or the blue tie and being, carefully marketed. But
Mm.
I just think that I think the marketers have just been getting it wrong. There's been so many mistakes. I mean, there's been images of Rishi Sunak, haven't there, where
Well, I was just
there's,
going to go on to that. Yeah. I mean, we
yeah,
haven't really spoken about them yet, apart from what the Lib Dems did. I mean, there's some pictures, and I'm gonna read this bit out as to where it was so people know what I'm talking about. We'll try and post some of these. But it was Rishi Sunak holds a staff Q&A in Buckinghamshire. And they've placed him in front of this. It looks like a bit of machinery. I don't know what it is, but it has two sort of round holes in it. And Rishi Sunak is right in front of it, and it looks like Mickey Mouse ears. I mean, it writes itself. I mean, who put the plinth there? Who didn't think, actually, you know what, guys, this could be a problem here? No one's
yeah,
thinking about it. And then there was the fact that he left early on the D-Day,
yeah,
the
that's right,
celebration
yeah,
or
and
commemorations rather.
and
And there's
yeah,
been this meme of him running off and he's saying we left them on the beaches, which is obviously a reference to we'll fight them on the beaches, which Churchill said. It's a very clever meme. I don't know. I tried to just before we went on air, had a try quick look as to who made that meme. I'm still not entirely sure, so don't
yeah.
want to say.
There was another one.
Um,
There was another one which I might have got slightly wrong, but he's standing in front of a word, but he's blocking out the two middle ones. So the letters that you see make up the word. Is it moron or something? I can't
yeah,
remember.
yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
And
And do you know what? I think that happened to I think that might have happened to Farage once, not in this election, but some elections, and it was
yeah,
TW, and then there was some word,
yes,
and then the one that you can see is T. Obviously,
yeah,
we all know what that spells out, right,
yeah,
guys?
yeah,
So yeah, why isn't the guy behind? I mean, I don't understand why you don't have. They must have like strategists and marketers and, you know, not necessarily director of photography, but they must have
Yeah,
a guy who must be in control of what's going out image wise. And why aren't they looking through the camera going, "Oh, hang on a minute, we can't have that.
of
We
course.
can't have that. That's no good. You've got
Yeah,
to move stuff. You can't. That cannot be right."
yeah,
But this
and
stuff at the moment, and it's almost like a representation of what people think of the government. I say I don't want to get into sort of politics here, but I
politics.
think
Yeah,
one of Labour's lines is have change with us or continue the same chaos with the Tories or something like that. But when you have like awful imagery coming out of the Tory camp, which I mean, it is chaotic, it's
yeah,
ridiculous. Someone's
yeah.
not doing their job properly, and it kind of falls into their hands a little bit, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So a lot of what we see is very careful use of imagery. And if you are a photographer or a videographer and you're asked to do something, sort of similar to this,
Yeah.
and then I wonder, you know, do you take some sort of responsibility? You should do. You should be able to say, excuse me, but you do realize if you're standing there, the word behind you spells moron and things like
Yeah.
that, or do you just
But
blindly turn up to a job and say, well, I was only doing what I was told I was going to do,
But it
that type of
depends.
thing?
I guess it
Yeah,
depends who is behind the lens. And this is what I'm
yeah,
saying. There needs to be someone who is looking after, in this case, Rishi Sunak's image, who
yeah,
needs to be looking out for this stuff. The
yeah,
photographer might be virulently anti-Tory and going, "Oh, you might have
yeah,
spotted it and gone, actually, no, this is great. This is what I
yeah,
want." It's not that
yeah.
person's job to make Sunak look good.
That's right. Yeah,
It's
it
their
takes. Yeah, and you've
it's
got to
their
look out for
marketing
these. Yeah,
strategy.
that's right. You've got to look out for these things. You
Yeah.
think right, okay, right. Keir Starmer's going to be talking today, and he's going to be standing exactly there. Right now, it's my job to see. I'm going to do a test. I'm going to stand somebody there, and I'm going to have a look. Is there anything that's going to make him look? You know, are we going to be sending
Yeah.
out the wrong message here?
Exactly.
Is there
Are we
anything
going to
here
make this
that's
guy look silly?
exactly right? And and it should be somebody's job to do that all times. And before any images go out, you've got to vet those images. You've got to,
Yeah.
something's got to be done.
Yeah.
But it clearly isn't, and it's
Yeah.
and obviously the other parties are going to be laughing their heads off and rolling around, and a lot of them have all been planned. They've managed to do what they were hoping to do. But yeah, it's yeah, I think there's going to be some more stuff to come. There's going to be a
Oh,
lot
there is.
more, you
But
know.
also, what I find fascinating is what message that parties are bringing out despite of these images. So, for example, we've all seen the what happened to Nigel Farage in Clacton.
Yes, the old
Now,
milkshake.
the milkshake thing. Now, whatever your views are on Nigel Farage, I don't think people should be throwing milkshakes at politicians,
No,
mainly because of security. Because I mean, it could have been something else,
exactly.
it
That's
could
right.
have been
Yeah, it could
something
have been
else. So
anything.
it could have been
Yeah.
anything. So I don't approve of that sort of thing. However, there has been some sort of, I'm not too sure if it's come from Reform or not, but they tried to, or no, it won't. It will come from one of their opponents. People basically saying this was staged by Nigel Farage because this isn't the first time he's had a milkshake thrown at him. Uh,
No, true. Yeah.
so people were trying to sort of say that, oh, maybe Nigel Farage has actually sort of staged this to get.
Mm.
I don't think that's true. I mean, there's a little thing I did do a little bit of research on it, and he goes, apparently um, she has been misidentified. The person who did it was a woman. She said she's been misidentified by some people online as a conservative pundit. Um, and it's led to conspiracy theories that the whole thing was staged by Farage.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but there's no evidence of that. The woman who threw the drink has been identified as blah, 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 who is apparently a 25-year-old OnlyFans model. So a completely different to what it is. But it just shows you, doesn't it, that some people start putting those little seeds in there about
Mm.
what's going on. And then you see that picture or that image in a completely different light. And unless you actually research it properly,
Mm.
it's going back to what we've always said, you've really got to do your research on the imagery that you're seeing at the moment and what it's all about.
Exactly.
Because, and we were discussing about how Trump holds the camera, didn't we, in the last episode?
Mm.
But and to be honest, I think a lot of our politicians need a few lessons in that because Rishi Sunak has not been looking good. Keir Starmer's not been doing as much, I don't think. So
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know how Labour have gotten away with just being dull.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've not seen anything particularly striking. There's been no, Trump. Whether you like him or not, he's an imposing figure in front of the camera.
He is.
Rishi Sunak, Keir Starmer, and Ed Davey, no, they're not.
No,
And if you want to sort of mention Nigel Farage, no, they're not. They're not. They don't look like powerful figures. Nigel Farage is a person that can either be ridiculed or taken seriously.
Yeah.
It really is at one end or the other. Keir Starmer and I think Rishi Sunak and Ed Davey are made to look fairly weak within the images that go out. So why aren't their marketing teams driving this and saying, we need to make you look like a politician. We need to make you look, like a man, or a woman, whoever it is doing, is getting the right message across. We want to make you look professional. We don't want to make you look like an idiot. We don't want to make you look like a man of the people, right? We cut out all of that nonsense, and make your leaders look like a leader.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think the only thing I slightly disagree with, I don't think Starmer's been made to look weak at all. I just think he looks dull.
Yes, yeah.
I don't think
striking.
No. I mean, I think Sunak's been coming out as being a bit tetchy. I think especially with the ITV debate, I think he came across as tetchy. Although having said that, I think there was a government poll that said 51% thought that Sunak actually won the argument. The debate there, I don't know. But yeah, he came across as tetchy and yeah, a man that is going to lose his job. That's how he's coming across at the moment, I think, with the imagery that's been coming out. And Ned Davey just looks like a bit of a buffoon at the moment. And I know he is a serious man. He's a very serious man. But yeah, it doesn't suit his brand really. I don't know why they've done it, with exception maybe of the boat in Henley. I think that was the stroke of genius. But
good stuff, Mark. Let's be careful this doesn't turn into a politics show.
Yes, no, it's not.
But we have come to the end.
Yeah, and I will say though, during these next few weeks, if anyone has seen an image or something like that they find either humorous or amusing or worrying or whatever it is, send it in, because we're going to be having a lot of this going on until the 4th of July, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, 4th of July is when this is all finishing. So we're going to be in it for a while. And listen, it's not about making political statements or being political about this. It's just about how people come across and how certain politicians are using and understanding how politicians and leaders are using imagery for their campaigns, whether it's successful or unsuccessful. Or even, as I said, with Labour, the lack of anything really coming out, I guess. But yeah.
Good stuff. Okay, Mark, let's just say thank you to our patrons.
Yes, absolutely. So we have Nick Payne. Thank you very much. We also have Rob Percy, who was on a couple of weeks ago. If you haven't seen that episode, do watch that up.
Carl Shervill,
Mary Zainab, and Frank Case.
Yeah, good
excellent stuff.
Thank you, guys. And remember, it's not even going to cost you a cup of coffee. It's cheaper, to get our patron than it is to get a cup of coffee.
Yeah, we are officially cheaper than Starbucks.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah, and on that note, guys, thank you for listening. We won't bring we'll try not. Well, I'd say we won't talk politics again, but with what's going on, I mean, we're surrounded by by imagery, aren't we? But we probably will talk about it again at some point.
I'm sure there's going to be. I'm sure another one is going to do something silly or hopefully spectacular. That's amazing. Well, it's unlikely, but but we'll be talking about it, I'm sure.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, guys, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye for now.